Once upon a time in a bustling city, there lived a man named Carlo, who thought he was the most important person in the world. He wasn't rich, famous, or powerful. He was just an ordinary guy who thought he was extraordinary. Every time Carlo went out, he made sure to tell everyone around him how great he was. "I'm the best singer in town," he'd announce, even though no one had ever asked him to sing. "I could have been a famous actor if I wanted to," he'd say, puffing out his chest. But people just smiled politely and nodded their heads. They didn't really care about his singing or acting skills because he never showed them. All he did was talk about himself. One day, Carlo decided he'd had enough of people not admiring him. He was going to show them just how great he was. So he called all his friends and neighbors and told them to gather in the town square. When everyone was assembled, Carlo jumped onto a nearby table and shouted, "Behold, I am about to lift myself up by my own hair. You are all witnessing the birth of a legend." Of course, everyone burst into laughter. Carlo's friend, Luigi, even yelled, "Carlo, that's impossible. No one can lift themselves by their own hair." But Carlo was determined to succeed. He took a deep breath, pulled a handful of his hair, scrunched up his face, and with all his might, pulled himself upward. His body jerked, his feet left the ground for a split second, and his face turned red as a tomato. But just as quickly as he had started, Carlo dropped back down to the ground with a thud. Everyone stared at him in silence. No one dared to laugh or make fun of him. They had all witnessed his effort, but they had also seen his failure. Ashamed and embarrassed, Carlo ran home. He had wanted to impress people, to show them how great he was, but instead he had only made a fool of himself. On his way home, he passed by a small cafe. He walked in and sat down at a table without noticing the woman sitting across from him. She had a kind face with wrinkles around her eyes, which meant she had a good heart. Carlo poured out his feelings to her, telling her about his big plan and how it had failed. The woman listened patiently, and when Carlo was done, she said, "You know, son, I think you tried to do something great, but you went about it the wrong way." Confused, Carlo asked, "What do you mean?" The woman explained, "When we want to lift ourselves up in the eyes of others, we must do it with our actions, not our words. Show people, don't tell them." Carlo thought about these words and realized the woman was right. He had wanted to show people how great he was, but instead, he had only made a fool of himself. From that day on, Carlo decided to be a better person. He helped children with their homework, lent a listening ear to the elderly, and lent a helping hand to those in need. Slowly but surely, Carlo began to earn the respect and admiration of those around him. And one day his friend Luigi approached him and said, "Carlo, you don't need to pull yourself up by your hair anymore. You've already lifted yourself higher than you could ever dream by lifting others." Carlo smiled. He knew Luigi was right. He had learned that true greatness isn't about lifting ourselves up, but lifting others up.